What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the world's best community ever, Gun Genesis Nature. It is the best community, okay? Don't lie. Okay, today I'm going to be talking about the Russian SKS. I'm going to be covering a few topics, history, ergonomics, a few things that you might likely expect in a review of an SKS. I'm going to start off by saying that this SKS was made in 1954, so it hasn't been in service in the Second World War. I'm going to start off by covering the history, by the way. So it hasn't been in service in the Second World War. It's made roughly around 10 years after, this one especially has been roughly made 10 years after the World War. But however, the SKSs, I have another one that's made in 1953. So there are a few years that range within this SKS. There are a few Russian SKS models. So the first ones that came out were the Soviet ones, the Russian ones. So right in front of me, I have the Russian one. However, later on in time, Russia did export a lot of these SKS models around the world, and China ended up creating SKSs in their own styles. So there are a lot of Chinese models as well. The Yugoslavians also took this model and made excellent ones as well. In Canada, there are no Yugoslavians. I've researched, I've done my best to find out whether or not there are Yugoslavian models. There aren't Yugoslavian models in Canada. And one thing to note as well, the Yugoslavian models also have a grenade launcher, which the Chinese and Russian models do not have. So in front of me, this Russian SKS comes in a 20-inch barrel with a blade bayonet. So this is unlike the ones that you can find on the Chinese rifles, which are spike bayonets. And these bayonets are not sharp whatsoever. So as you can see, if I turn this bayonet up, this bayonet is not sharp. So if you try to cut something with it, it's not gonna cut. So I like to relate to nature a lot. As you guys know, Gun Genesis Nature, I relate to the nature a lot. So say for example, you're out and about in the nature and you have no ammunition and you're stuck in the wilderness and you perhaps get an attack on you by wild animals. Well, I really like the Russian SKS for that sake of adding a blade bayonet or a bayonet in general that is attached to the rifle that you can use as your last hope, as your last resort as a self-defense technique, of course, to save your life during dangers. So that's a good touch that they added. This bayonet is made to penetrate. So like I said, stabbing as a self-defense technique, of course, in Canada. We don't do any of that other stuff. So of course here we have a cleaning rod as well. So the Russian SKS and Chinese SKS, they've included that as well. So if you're out and about in the forest or wherever you may be, you can clean your rifle using that in stock rifle cleaning rod. And it also has a little hole over here where you can add the actual cleaning kit. Now I don't have one with me on me right now. I have stored it where I store all my cleaning kits and stuff like that, so it's not in here, but you can put it in here for more ease access when you're out wherever you are. And the soldiers back then, when they used to use this, they used to have their cleaning kits in there, so in case they had a gun jam, something was wrong with their gun, they could automatically just clean their rifle using those two tools right there. In case of any mud or water or dust, any particles, residue, it goes in it, it will still continue to operate as usual. I've seen even videos on YouTube where people run bulldozers through these guns and it still works. It still operates as it should compared to many other rifles out there that do not operate like such. And actually, as I said, this rifle was made in 1954, and it's exactly 70 years that this rifle has been made. Of course, this is the refinished model. I don't think any of the SKSs right now are non-refinished because, mass production and stuff, so they refinish these stocks and whatever. But I haven't had any rifle. I don't have any rifle. I haven't shot any rifle that is as soft shooting as this one. And mind you guys, the butt pad on this, the recoil pad, is not even made out of rubber. It's made out of steel. So that goes to show the excellence made in the SKS rifle. And many people compare this to rifles such as the AK-47, AKM, which were made shortly after this one. And this rifle is still used. If you do a lot of research, and if you do want to do a lot of research, you can find out a few countries in this world that to this day still use this rifle in their military arsenal. It may sound very, wow, but some countries in the world still use this as part of their military arsenal. Now, as the AK-47, of course, in Canada, there's no such thing as automatic rifles because they're all prohibited. They don't even come in here. But I'm just talking in general for all the people, for all my viewers. But as the AK-47, AKM, and later generations of the AK came out, this rifle was soon to be out of production. But however, like I said, it's been transported, and Russia has been sent these parts to all over the world. And like I said, the Chinese have made the SKS as well, the Chinese version, and so is the Yugoslavians and other versions as well that I don't mention right now, but there's many more, etc., etc. But they also use this. And this rifle has been used and still is being used in many ceremonies today. So many countries account a lot of respect to this rifle to the point where they use it in ceremonies, battle ceremonies. And you can do your own research as well on Google, on the internet. It's full of, reviews and stuff. And other people, like militaries, using these rifles, the SKS, in their ceremonies for their militaries. It's a very prominent rifle. And at the time, it was very cheap. In the late 2000s, you could have bought this rifle probably for even $100 in America, right? It was very cheap. It was almost like a gift, right? Nowadays, these rifles have gotten a bit up in price, especially in Canada. But these rifles were very cheap at the time when they were being exported all around the world. And overall, a very convenient rifle itself. So it's not too long. So it's pretty short if you ask me. Even if I try to fit it in my arms, it's actually a little bit short for me. Right, so as you can see, my eye comes right up to the dust cover right over here that I'm going to be talking about a little bit. So for those of you who are wondering, what can you do to increase the length of this? As my arms are big and some of your guys' arms might be big as well. What I do recommend to you is actually two things. First, what you can do is change to an ATI stock. I have done a review on that. You can find that in my channel. I've done the review between the ATI stock and the original wooden version of this. So what you can do is switch to that, and then you have an adjustable butt pad range. Or the second thing that you can do, if you don't want to switch and you don't want to take down all of this, you can go the easier route by buying an extensional butt pad. So essentially it's like a clip-on thing. You just put it in here and then it extends your arm. So instead of being down here, it would probably be around up here, or however much the extension is. So the dust cover, like I said, I want to talk about that. I do have the replaceable dust cover. You guys have probably seen this in my ATI versus original stock video where I do replace it, but I don't want to replace it for the simple fact that I admire this rifle in its original looks to the point where I don't even want to change it. I simply just love this rifle the way it is, like the stock version, because it gives me that vintage vibes that the Russian military used to use. And this is, by the way, very similar to the AK rifle style. You guys can see the front end is extremely alike it. Especially these parts, like the front end, it looks almost exactly like it, except you can minus the bayonet and, the length of the barrel, because as you guys know, the length of the AK is much less than the length of this. This is a 20-inch barrel, like I had aforementioned. And it is a short stroke piston, gas-operated rifle as well, semi-automatic. So it did play a very significant role at the time it was created by Semyonov, as the SKS what it stands for. So like I mentioned, I don't want to change this to the other scope because I admire it so much. And actually the covers right over here, like the sights, the iron sights, they're pretty prestige. They are pretty accurate in my personal opinion. So you have from 100 meters to 1,000 meters, and then you have like a little battle range mode, you can call it. Here, I'll show you guys right over here. So there's a range right over here. right there. And you can essentially just move this, slide this up and down. So like this, slide it up, it goes up, and slide it down, goes down. So it's for range purposes. So in the military, when they used to decipher their range and find out where they had to attack their enemy, they would change this according to that, or they could have just used the battle range, which is mainly effective of up to 300 meters. In my personal experience, it shoots pretty good between 0 to 300 meters within the battle range. I've shot this rifle up to 200 meters, I want to say, confidently, and it's done pretty accurate. I want to say it's been knocking down targets accurately. I've been knocking down the plastic water bottles you can get pretty accurately. I've been with this rifle at the battle range mode, the battle range setting, like I said from over here, it's been pretty accurate. And you guys can do this effectively. There's videos online that you can find on the internet, plethora of videos, showing you guys people crushing targets at 400, 500 meters with these types of rifles. It's very insane, but it is very true. So as you guys can also see, I have a sling attached to it. Now, for those of you who are wondering, this is the original sling they offered for the SKS. It's pretty minimalistic. Nevertheless, I do really like it because it gives that good contrast vibe to it. So I really like it. It's very pleasing to me to know that I have an original whatever sling this is. And it does have the mounts over here, so it is mounted directly to the wooden stock, and from over here as well to the barrel has that little mounting place right there. And over here, your sight, it's covered by this circle, I would say, but it's a steel piece. And I personally like that because it covers your main sight in case it doesn't, tear it down or whatever while you're in a bunch of places. It doesn't make sure it doesn't fall and stuff. So it keeps it pretty tight into place. And the magazine is also very important. So in Canada, magazine capacity is up to 5 only. So we do have a limiter, and I can show you that. So right over here, there's this one limiter. They attached a steel piece right over there to limit the round capacity from 10 to 5. Now don't ask me about that. Do not make the rules. Nevertheless, for those of you who are wondering, it's very easy to access the magazine and take out the rounds. Say for example, you have a bunch of rounds in here, even if your SKS is the 10 round capacity one, as it should be usual. You can very easily access your rounds or take them down by simply just clicking this button. You just push down this button right over here, and all of it just falls down. So in case you wanted to do that, it's very easy for you to do that. The bolt's also very smooth, extremely smooth. So that is for the bolt. I mean, in general, I wasn't gonna be talking too much in this video. This video was supposed to be pretty short in terms of talks and history. I am gonna be making a separate video where I demonstrate to you guys how this rifle performs in the range, how I shoot it. You guys will be seeing it, how it does in terms of accuracy and other factors like that are essential for a rifle qualification like this. And that's pretty much it for this rifle. I hope you guys enjoyed this mini review of the rifle. I'm not going to be disassembling or assembling this rifle. There are many plethora of videos that you can find on the internet that do a great job of explaining that, how to disassemble and assemble the rifle. Nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys stay tuned for the future videos that are coming up. And like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with friends or family members that might be interested in this type of content. But until next time, you guys have a great time. Stay safe, stay well, stay tuned, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.